I want to play Onimusha. Capcom makes good games. I like old games. I don't have enough popper pennies for Sekiro. I'm about to play Onimusha.
Hold up. Before this weird Canadian starts spitting some lit AF hot takes, I want to set the scene here, alright? This maple syrup chugging loser has never played an Onimusha game, while I grew up with the franchise and have played it longer than the average Fortnite player has been on this damn planet. So, you know, dear Oni veterans, don't worry, I won't let anyone tarnish our baby's name.
Alright, whatever, man. I'm here to play games, not write the Bible on them, damn. But it's good you're here, you know. Onimusha isn't some current-day gaming juggernaut, right? It had its heyday, but it's kinda, I don't really want to say it, pleading for its life with Capcom's cold guillotine hanging overhead, you know?
I mean, pretty much. Onimusha was huge when it came out. This game was the first one to break 1 million copies sold for the PS2, and went on to sell over 2 mil, though later entries also did well, but after that weird soft reboot Capcom did in 2006, the franchise just kinda disappeared off the face of the earth, and it's been in limbo ever since, with no games released whatsoever.
What about that browser game?
No. Onimusha Soul didn't happen. Fuck you.
That's a bit of a shame. Onimusha was like the samurai Resident Evil at some point. Nowadays... Oh, that's not good. Why do I get the feeling something's missing here? There's no mistaking it. This is an older game. That's not a bad thing, though. I love old games. There's something really compelling about making art with limitations. I'm totally not mad I can't play Sekiro. Not one bit. So being a product of its era, Onimusha's pretty short. Like, really short, and I get it. You know, it was probably meant to be run through a bunch of times, and it was probably really hard back in the day. For example, the remaster changed your movement options from tank controls to free analog control. So going from walking, turning, walking to just... whew, it's nice. And yet, again, I feel like something's missing.
See, thing is, this game was built with tank controls in mind. Capcom having already made a bunch of games with a control scheme like Resident Evil and Dino Crisis.
It actually is very similar to Dino Crisis. The formula's pretty much the same.
Maria, hold up, did you finish Dino Crisis?
Yep.
Maria, did you make a 20-minute video about Dino Crisis?
Yep.
Maria, have you played Onimusha yet?
Nope. Okay, I'll play it after Persona 3, I promise.
Maria, Persona 3 is an 80-hour JRPG. You can beat Onimusha in 4. Go play Onimusha.
Alright, fine. I'll be logical for once. Damn it.
As I said, the game was built with tank controls in mind. The combat, enemy balancing, camera angles, even the architecture of Inabayama Castle, everything was built with the concept of tank controls. The remaster doesn't just replace tank with free movement though, it gives you the option to do both by binding tank to the D-pad so you can effectively experience the game as it was intended, but there's no denying that tank controls aren't the most versatile control scheme, especially with the amount of close quarters fighting you'll be doing. For vets like me, free movement is a plus. I can play the game the way I play Oni 3, move through the environments with free controls, but fight with tanks, since dodging and dashing around is a very powerful and important tool in Samanosuke's kit.
You know, I gotta say, that sounds fine and all, but who are you dodging? Maybe it would have made it easier, but I mean, I'm just dancing around these guys. Can you imagine fighting these dudes except you move like a robot and you actually have to dodge and sidestep? These guys try getting fresh and you can just walk away. You just walk away. Oh, no. Okay, not all the time. All right, scratch that. Two. I mean, shit, Atmos. No need to show off.
Hey, if I can show off, I will, damn it.
You have all your samurai weapons, fire sword, lightning sword, Win Guando.
That's not what it's called.
Or whatever, and some ranged weapons. Maybe I'm an edgelord, you know, call me crazy, but I live and die by the sword, not these coward weapons, which is my really shitty justification for not using them, like, ever. I think you're supposed to hit the roof dudes with them, but it just seemed easier just running and aiming, to be honest. Actually, that's a common issue, and it's not unique to Onimusha, but I avoided so many fights because of the free movement and high-risk, low-reward battles, at least early on. You shouldn't, because you need the souls of enemies to level up. What is this, so fucking Samurai Dark Souls? But it's not like it's that big a deal. Oh look, I'm locked out of the door until I upgrade my weapon by grinding the requisite souls. How quaint. Alright, sorry. You know, you don't really have to grind if you level your weapons equally, but maybe I just want a powerful Win Guando, huh? Maybe I just want to have fun.
That is still not what it's called.
Actually, realistically, some kid playing this in 2000 whatever is probably shitting his pants in fear, cutting up demons, and like, just killing is the reward. I've been there. Childhood is long dead, but I get it.
Yep, I can confirm. 5-year-old me got scared shitless of the maggot scene in the first cutscene and didn't touch the game for like a year out of pure terror.
I'm not even joking about the fear thing. This game is scary, dude. I mean, maybe 20 years ago, but I was pissed scared of Resident Evil 4 at 13. Some people were scared of this shit. So yeah, it's not unbelievable. They do some super cool things with the setting years before some games I know. On the difficulty though, and I was getting at it with the bow point, very few enemies take more than one try to beat. I'm serious, you can just run around most of the bosses, blast them with super moves when you have them, wait and attack. It's not all that hard, especially when your supers have invincibility. It was around the flying boss that I realized I probably wasn't supposed to just slam enemies and actually strategize with, for example, the bow in this fight, or use the optimal element weapon for some fights, and I realized something pretty terrible. At no point was the game sufficiently challenging enough that I had to rethink my strategy. Maybe it's the free movement, and I do think that's a massive culprit here. Maybe the game just wants you to feel free to do what you want, and I kinda went in expecting to get shit on, and I didn't really. I got killed more by random enemies than bow shots than bosses. Except that shadow boss, but... Okay, I can't be the only one who thinks this. There's this puzzle section that just grinds the game to a massive halt. You do the easy room, sure, okay, and then this lobotomy happens. I hate these things. God, Jesus, how are you supposed to fucking finish this stupid game? This is so stupid. And every single time, you gotta do the rooms again. It's not impossible, but I bet a lot of 2000s kids didn't have YouTube to look up the solution, cause who's spending their time on this shit?
I'm spending my time on this shit. You're just bad at puzzles. Might as well admit it. See? Easy.
Also, I never took the time to do the Dark Realm just because it didn't seem like there was a reason to. I assumed it was like the Bloody Palace in Devil May Cry. I don't know, with modes like this and puzzles and sections where you have to play as Kaede the ninja, they were trying to vary gameplay, pack in content, and I can respect that. There's a lot of stuff to find that you can just miss too. Turns out I didn't get an armor upgrade early on in some things. Fluorites, I guess. Kaede can assassinate dudes too? Oh boy, I'm gonna get in trouble with the comments again.
I told you, here come the hot takes. Alright, let's go through these in order of relevance. Kaede sections are pretty take it or leave it with a heavy emphasis on leave it. Yeah, she's a lot more mobile than Samanosuke and has that cool ass throat slit move, but there's a very prominent issue with the Kaede sections that keep the game from being a lot more engaging. She can't collect souls. Unlike Michelle in 3, who gets a bracelet that can absorb souls the main characters can later use, enemies killed by Kaede don't drop souls at all. That paired with her inability to ascend, which I'll cover in a bit, make her sections a jog from point A to point B with zero benefit to killing enemies on the way, making her sections redundant at best. As for fluorite, it's a collectible item of which there's 20 in total. They're hidden in unmarked locations, at least until you find an item that gives them a shimmer, and if you finish the game with all chunks of fluorite found, you'll unlock the Oni Spirits minigame. Beating it unlocks Ultimate Mode, which is a sort of New Game Plus where you have everything from the get-go, including the Bishamon sword.
More like the Bitchamon sword. Heyo! Anybody? No?
You would know what that is if you listened to my advice before you played the damn game. Remember the Dark Realm?
Vaguely. Oh, the bagworm guy. Yeah, that was disgusting. Ew.
See, if you bothered to finish the Dark Realm, you'd get an item called the Bishamon Flute, which you're supposed to use at one of the last rooms of the game. You stick that bad boy in your mouth, do some Tommy Oliver Green Ranger shit, and a door opens that has a sword in it, which has unlimited magic. Woo!
So it's the Master Sword, but broken?
Yeah, the Bishamon sword is a beast. It steamrolls like every enemy in the game, and it makes the final boss just so much fun to fight.
I guess I don't give games enough time anymore, but still, there was something nagging at the back of my head in my playthrough. I think I just want the game to be something else. I think I didn't exactly feel like a samurai, you know? I get that's a fucking IGM meme, but for real. Like, I should be able to do something more, and it's not allowed, or there's a hidden move set or something.
Motherfucker. Did I not tell you to listen to my advice before you played the fucking game? Jesus, man. Like, do I have to teach you fucking everything? Do you need your hand held all the way through?
Okay, but the game didn't tell me that, though. And I bet it was in the manual in 1955 or whenever you bought this shit, but I'm playing in 2019 right now, and I don't have time to read digital manuals, okay?
Did this prick just call me a digital manual? Like, you Canadian shitlord, I'm gonna come over there and strangle you with a fucking controller cord.
Hey, fuck
Buckos, quit your bitching! First of all, Atmos, stop being a condescending prick. And KBash, stop being a fuckboy and listen to the veteran. He actually knows his shit. I mean, despite being a huge cunt. I swear to fuck, I can hear you mongoloids all the way in the ass crack of the States bitching about goddamn Onimusha of all things.
Fuck off!
Alright, let me break down Isens and their importance for you, you Canadian ingrate. Isens are the backbone of Onimusha's combat. They're what defined the game. They're what give this game its identity and make it more than Resident Evil Weeb Edition or whatever. There's two types of Isen. Although they were given names in the third entry, the gist is pretty much the same. First, we have Deflect Ascent, which is your basic counterattack. You block just in time with the enemy strike, and if your timing is good enough, you'll see a shimmering ring around the block. Attack in that window, and you'll do an Ascent, which is like this super cool dashing strike that kills lesser enemies in a single hit. The second type of Ascent is Critical Ascent. This time, instead of blocking in time with the enemy strike, you only press the attack button, which makes Samanosuke dash around the enemy and kill them with one hit. Doing Isens not only guarantees that the enemy will drop souls, which isn't always the case if you're just mashing the attack button, but the amount of souls gained is also a lot more significant on top of dropping health replenishing yellow souls almost all of the time. Of course, there's a difference in soul amounts between Deflect and Critical, but it's still leagues beyond what you get if you play it without Isen in mind. That's how I get all my shit maxed before like the halfway point and have a bunch of souls to convert herbs into medicines, because, you know, make the game easier, whatever.
Damn, I wish I'd known that from the start. I went back and started trying it out, and it's actually pretty fun. It's like giving the player the infinite launcher in Resident Evil, except no, you have to practice a bunch, play a bunch, and get good on your own merit, so then you can just go steamroll the game with something you taught yourself. That's actually kind of ingenious, and since it's not out in the open, and people don't have time, maybe they'll never experience that.
Isen pretty much defines Onimusha. The moment you start training for it, your mind just goes, holy shit, I wonder if I can do this on every enemy. And yes you can. On any enemy, on any attack. My Warlords game is a bit rusty, but in 2 and especially 3, bosses have Isen frames which can be studied and practiced, essentially giving Onimusha one of the clearest but crushingly hardest skill ceilings in gaming history. You'll have to memorize every single attack of every single enemy to a fucking T, but when you do, I can't even imagine how satisfying it would be to blaze through the game as if you're playing DMC with Infinite Royal Guard Beater. That's completely skill-based, but a skill that relies on your knowledge, reflexes, and hours upon hours of practice.
Right, and that makes sense. It's definitely got more going for it than other classics if you're willing to sink in the time. I'm not here to prove a point about Onimusha being the last great video game of whatever era, even if Atmos is convinced it is, but there's something to that idea that's profound. I guess that's what I missed the whole way through. You're supposed to play it again and again, mastering it over time, enjoying it like a player should. That's the stuff that makes the game hold up. The feeling that you're competent, brutal, masterful. In the end, I had fun. I love slamming dudes with the flame sword's magic. I loved all the magic in general, super visceral. I love the bloody combat, and I probably would have loved it even more with Isen and tank controls, weirdly enough. I liked how the entire place was like a confusing trap-filled Japanese manor, which I guess it literally is. There's something about finding those secret things in secret places that pulls you into the level design. Even with the creepy mix of ancient Japanese aesthetics and with alien abominations and rooms filled with the corruption of hell itself. And hey, the Shakespeare character naming was a plus.
Onimusha is pretty special. Not just because it's something I grew up with, although that of course plays a big part in my love for it, but because it's a kind of game that just doesn't get made anymore. It's sad what happened to this franchise. This game, its sequels, its spin-offs, every title except that fucking browser game, they are all remnants of an era long past. Nothing more than fleeting traces of a childish glee I had when I played these games. Onimusha is pretty special, especially because it's something I grew up with, and Capcom. Listen, you've been doing really fucking well recently. The games you've released in the last few years have been fucking 10 out of 10s, and to my knowledge, this remaster has sold pretty well. So, you know, start pre-production for a new Onimusha. Make it the best game it can be, and just give us remasters while we wait. You've already proven that pre-rendered backgrounds and licensing aren't an issue. Hell, you made an entirely new soundtrack for Warlords Remastered. Like, we can wait, and we will, but you gotta do this. The plan KBash and I had for the series was to cover all 3 games, all nice and well, but that's not going to happen. Not yet. The second part in the series will only arrive when Capcom brings Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny to the general public, again in full remastered glory. Until then, you'll have to wait just as patiently as we will.
So yeah, we would love to do another video on Onimusha, Onimusha 2, the works, but that would require somebody to make another game. So what's good, Capcom? Let's get that shit